Beneath one of the world's most famous structures, a secret may lie unseen by humanity for nearly 2,000 years. The Colosseum, the immortal symbol of the ancient Roman Empire, has long been considered one of the most thoroughly studied monuments in history. Generations of archaeologists have surveyed every wall, every corridor, and every underground chamber beneath this colossal structure. Many experts believe that the Colosseum's structure holds almost nothing that could surprise anyone. However, in 2021, a survey using advanced ground-penetrating radar technology yielded a discovery that forced researchers to reconsider what they previously knew. Signals from deep underground revealed that beneath the already complex Hippogeum underground system, there might be entirely undiscovered structures. Mysterious corridors, enclosed spaces, and walls bearing traces of human construction appear to lie silently beneath layers of history accumulated over centuries. What truly lies hidden beneath the Colosseum, and why could this secret change our understanding of ancient Rome? To understand why the 2021 discovery caused such a stir, we first need to look back at the complex underworld beneath the Colosseum. This story actually begins long before the Colosseum was built. In the 1st century AD, the area where the Colosseum stands today was part of the Domus Aurea, also known as the Golden House, the opulent palace of Emperor Nero. After the Great Fire of 64 AD, Nero commissioned the construction of a massive palace complex with extensive gardens, magnificent decorations, and a central artificial lake. However, after Nero's death, his successors sought to erase the image of the emperor's excessive extravagance. Therefore, the artificial lake was filled in to make way for a completely new structure, a public amphitheater for the Roman people. When the Colosseum was completed, it quickly became the empire's largest entertainment center. Tens of thousands of spectators could gather there to watch gladiatorial contests, animal hunts, or large-scale public performances. Some ancient records even suggest that, in its early stages, the arena may have been filled with water to recreate mock naval battles, a feat of engineering that historians continue to study today. However, the appearance we commonly see beneath the Colosseum today largely dates back to the time of Emperor Domitian. Recognizing the need to host increasingly complex events, Domitian commissioned the construction of a massive underground tunnel system beneath the arena floor. This system became known as the Hippogeum. The Hippogeum was no simple basement. It was a veritable labyrinth of interconnected corridors, animal pens, prisons for prisoners or gladiators, prop storage, weapons depots, and a host of logistical spaces. Within this network existed engineering mechanisms, astonishing for the ancient world. Roman engineers constructed a system of human-powered elevators and platforms that allowed wild animals, gladiators, or stage sets to be lifted from underground directly to the arena's surface in a very short time. For the more than 50,000 spectators in the stands, everything appears almost out of nowhere. A lion can suddenly leap into the middle of the arena. A group of gladiators can appear just seconds before the fight begins. Even scenes for large-scale performances can be brought to the ground quickly and precisely. Therefore, many experts describe the Hippogeum as a giant machine hidden deep underground. The entire system operates like the backstage of a colossal theater, where hundreds of people coordinate to create spectacular performances above ground. For centuries, archaeologists believed they had a fairly good understanding of the structure of this underground world. But then, radar signals appearing in 2021 raised a completely new question. What if there is another secret layer beneath the Hippogeum that no one has ever known about? This is where the story takes a turn that even many archaeologists didn't anticipate. For decades, the Hippogeum was considered one of the most thoroughly studied underground systems of the ancient world. Excavations, architectural surveys, and technical reconstructions helped researchers map almost the entire network of corridors beneath the Colosseum. Many experts believed that the arena's greatest secrets had long been uncovered. However, the development of geophysical survey technology in the 21st century has opened up the possibility of observing areas inaccessible to humans through traditional excavation methods. Instead of digging deep into the ground, scientists can use ground-penetrating radar to send electromagnetic pulses below the surface. When these signals encounter objects or structures with different densities, they reflect back, creating images that allow experts to analyze what exists beneath without destroying the artifacts. In 2021, research teams from Italy and the United States launched new surveys around the Colosseum using radar systems with significantly higher resolution than previous generations of equipment. Initially, their goal was primarily to examine and confirm known data about the structure's foundations. But as they collected more data, experts noticed unusual signals appearing at depths beyond the reach of the Hippogeum. Initial radar images revealed the presence of geometric contours inconsistent with the natural geological structure of the area. Instead of randomly distributed layers of rock, the data reflected relatively straight surfaces, clearly defined intersections, and spaces shaped like man-made structures. As the analysis continued, researchers began to identify signs of corridors never before recorded in any archaeological maps. Some structures appeared to lie entirely outside the known boundaries of the Hippogeum system. This particularly caught the researchers' attention, as the Hippogeum was considered the center of the entire underground network beneath the Colosseum. In addition to the mysterious corridors, radar also detected enclosed spaces located at depths of approximately 6 to 12 meters beneath previously surveyed areas. Some areas appeared as separate chambers, while others seemed to be connected by passageways extending in various directions. What surprised the experts most was not the existence of these voids, but their shape. In geophysical archaeology, distinguishing between natural and man-made structures is extremely important. Natural caves often have irregular contours, complex shapes, and are difficult to form with clear right angles. Conversely, data from the Colosseum shows many signs consistent with human construction activity. Some radar reflections show walls with consistent orientation. Other areas appear as intentionally enclosed spaces. The more the data is analyzed, the less convincing the possibility that this is simply a natural geological phenomenon becomes. Another noteworthy finding is that the scope of these structures appears to extend beyond the Colosseum. Several indications suggest the underground system may stretch beyond the current boundaries of the Colosseum. If this conclusion is correct, it would mean that the underground structures beneath central Rome could be far more complex than previously assumed. For archaeologists, this is a challenging situation. Radar data provides strong evidence for the existence of unusual structures, but the technology itself cannot pinpoint exactly what those structures are. Experts can identify their shape, relative size, and location, but cannot determine their function or age based solely on reflected signals. Under normal circumstances, the next step would be excavation for direct verification. But the Colosseum is no ordinary archaeological site. It is one of humanity's most important heritage sites, and any excavation activity carries the risk of affecting the structure's stability. Therefore, direct access to the newly discovered areas is almost impossible. As a result, researchers found themselves in a particularly rare situation. They had evidence suggesting the possible existence of previously unknown underground structures, but they couldn't directly observe them. And it was this gap between what radar could see and what humans couldn't yet reach that opened up a host of fascinating theories about the true origins of these mysterious structures. When the radar data was released, the biggest question that immediately arose was not whether these structures existed, but what they actually were. Because direct excavation was not yet possible, researchers had to rely on the location, shape, and historical context of the area to formulate the most plausible hypotheses. Among the many possibilities, 3 stand out and have attracted particular attention from archaeologists. The first theory relates to one of the most controversial structures of ancient Rome, the Domus Aurea, or the Golden House of Emperor Nero. Before the Colosseum, the entire area was part of a vast palace complex built after the Great Fire of 64 AD. Nero's palace was famous for its enormous scale, lavish gardens, elaborate decorations, and the artificial lake located on the site where the Colosseum was later built. When Nero's reign ended, his successors attempted to erase the symbol of his power by completely renovating the area. The lake was filled in, structures were demolished or buried, and the Colosseum was erected as a new symbol for the public. Therefore, some experts suggest that the structures recently detected by radar may be remnants of the Domus Aurea complex, buried beneath later layers of construction. If this hypothesis is confirmed, It would be a particularly valuable discovery, as it could help reconstruct parts of Nero's palace that history has lost sight of for nearly 2 millennia. The second theory centers on a technical mystery that has puzzled historians for generations. Ancient sources indicate that the Colosseum was used to stage mock naval battles in its early stages. This would have meant the arena had to be filled with a massive amount of water and then drained away in a relatively short time. However, the Romans' method of doing this remains largely unexplained. Therefore, some researchers suggest that the structures deep beneath the Hippogeum may be related to a complex hydraulic system that once served for performances on the surface. The mysterious corridors could be water channels. The large voids may have served as reservoirs. Other structures could be drainage systems or flow regulators designed to control the enormous volume of water. If these are indeed the remains of an ancient hydraulic system, the discovery could provide an answer to one of the most famous engineering questions surrounding the Colosseum. The third hypothesis is somewhat more mysterious and also more controversial. Some radar data suggests that in certain areas there may be signals related to buried, metallic, or organic materials. Although these signals are not clear enough to draw conclusions, they have led some experts to consider the possibility that there may be spaces beneath the Colosseum used for rituals or burials. According to this interpretation, the newly discovered structures may contain ancient tombs, burial artifacts, or traces related to rituals performed during the construction process. In many ancient civilizations, performing religious ceremonies before or during the construction of large structures was not uncommon. However, to date, there is no direct evidence to confirm this hypothesis. The common thread among all three hypotheses is that they are all based on indirect data. Scientists can see traces of the mysterious structures through radar, but they haven't been able to directly access them to accurately determine their nature. This is what keeps the debate going. Each hypothesis has its own reasonable basis, but none has enough evidence to be considered the final answer. And while experts are still searching for an explanation, subsequent surveys continue to yield more noteworthy data from deep beneath the earth of Rome. For archaeologists, the initial findings from 2021 were not the end of the investigation, but merely the beginning of a completely new phase of research. After the first radar data revealed the existence of previously unrecorded structures, research teams continued to conduct further surveys in 2022 and 2023 to verify the accuracy of the results and expand the scope of observation. One of the key principles of scientific research is that any anomaly detected needs to be verified by multiple independent measurements. Scientists understand that radar signals can sometimes be affected by geological conditions, soil moisture, or other environmental factors. Therefore, they don't rush to make attention-grabbing announcements. Instead, they compare data from multiple different devices and conduct additional scans at various locations around the Colosseum. The results further fueled the research community's interest. Previously discovered structures continued to appear in new radar maps. This significantly reduced the likelihood that they were merely random signals or technical errors. While their exact function remains undetermined, researchers are increasingly convinced that beneath the Colosseum lie man-made structures never before documented in modern archaeological records. Particularly noteworthy are several corridors or structural pathways that appear to extend beyond the arena. Expanding the scope of the survey, experts found several signs extending toward the Palatine Hill. This is a crucial detail because the Palatine Hill has long been considered the center of power in ancient Rome. The area housed royal palaces and was home to numerous emperors throughout the empire's history. If the underground structures do indeed point toward the Palatine Hill, it could suggest that the Colosseum was not a completely independent structure. Instead, it may have once been connected to other important areas of Rome through a much more complex underground network than previously understood. From here, a new hypothesis began to attract the attention of researchers. Some experts suggest that these corridors may have been related to special routes reserved for the emperor and the ruling class. In ancient Roman society, issues of security and political protocol were always highly valued. The emperor's movements were usually meticulously organized to avoid the risk of assassination or chaos from crowds. Numerous historical documents indicate that large Roman public buildings were sometimes designed with private passageways for the ruling class. Therefore, the possibility of a secret tunnel connecting the Colosseum to the royal palace area is not entirely unreasonable. If this hypothesis is confirmed in the future, it would provide new insight into how Roman emperors moved around and controlled large-scale events taking place at the arena. Furthermore, subsequent surveys have yielded clues related to ancient water systems, a field that has been of particular interest to historians for many years. The Roman Empire was renowned for its advanced water management systems, from aqueducts and underground sewers to massive reservoirs serving urban life. In the new radar data, several structures appear as elongated lines with characteristics similar to ancient water channels or pipelines. While not yet certain, many experts believe these signals may represent components of a previously unknown hydraulic system. If this is true, the discovery would be of immense significance. For years, researchers have been trying to explain how the Romans managed the enormous amount of water needed for the Colosseum. The existence of previously unrecorded aqueducts could help fill a gap in our current understanding of the engineering and operation of the structure. However, what makes the story even more fascinating are the limitations scientists are facing. Normally, when a new archaeological structure is discovered, experts would conduct excavations to verify its authenticity directly. But with the Colosseum, that option is almost impossible. This is not only a national monument of Italy, but also one of the most famous cultural symbols in the world. Any excavation work must be considered with extreme care to avoid affecting the stability of the structure, which has stood for nearly 2,000 years. Therefore, researchers are forced to rely primarily on non-invasive surveying technology, using radar, three-dimensional modeling, and advanced geophysical analysis methods to continue collecting data. This creates an interesting paradox. Modern technology has allowed humans to see traces deep underground that previous generations could not detect. But at the same time, the historical value of the Colosseum makes direct access to these structures extremely difficult. Scientists can see the shapes, determine their locations, and estimate their sizes, but they still cannot enter inside to verify them firsthand. Therefore, each new survey is closely monitored by the research community. Each additional radar map can provide another piece of the incomplete picture of the world beneath the Colosseum, and the more data is collected, the clearer one thing becomes. What people once considered the complete story of the world's most famous arena may only be the surface layer of a much deeper history. The Colosseum has long been known as a symbol of Roman power, gladiatorial contests, and spectacular performances before tens of thousands of spectators. But recent discoveries are suggesting that the structure may also serve as a gateway to previously unexplored layers of history. Beneath the familiar stonework seen by millions of visitors each year, there may still exist untouched corridors, unidentified structures, and secrets that have laid dormant for nearly 2,000 years. And that's why the story of the Colosseum isn't over yet. On the contrary, what radar detects underground may only be the opening chapter of a larger exploration, where each layer studied reveals another part of the past that the world thought it understood long ago. What makes the discoveries beneath the Colosseum so special is not just the mysterious corridors or the unidentified structures. The greatest value of this discovery lies in the fact that it forces us to reconsider a common assumption. We easily believe that what has been studied for a long time must already be understood. We often assume that great secrets exist only in remote, secluded places or places never before explored by humans. Yet the Colosseum proves otherwise. This is one of the most famous landmarks on the planet. Millions of tourists visit it every year. Archaeologists have studied it for generations. Thousands of documents, drawings, and scientific works have been published. Yet, right beneath a site that seems to have nothing new to discover, modern technology is still uncovering signs that no one had noticed before. It's a powerful reminder of the limitations of human knowledge. Every era believes it understands the world quite well. But history consistently demonstrates that our knowledge is always only a small part of the larger picture. What is considered self-evident today may become an open question tomorrow with the emergence of a new technology or discovery. More broadly, the story of the Colosseum also reflects the history of Rome itself. The city did not develop simply horizontally, but rather in layers over time. Each generation built its structures on the foundations of the previous one. What belongs to the past does not completely disappear. It is merely obscured by newer layers of history. The Colosseum was built on the site of what was once Nero's palace. Beneath that palace lie structures from the Roman Republic era, and beneath those structures, there may be even older traces. Each layer of history leaves its mark, though sometimes it takes thousands of years for people to realize its presence. Interestingly, this principle isn't just true for archaeology. It also applies to how each person's life is shaped. Present decisions are often built upon past experiences. The successes we have today don't appear out of nowhere. They are forged from a series of choices, lessons, failures, and efforts accumulated over time. Like the layers of soil beneath Rome, each person carries within them many layers of memories and experiences. We don't always see them, but they are always present and influence how we think, act, and shape our future. The story of the Colosseum also offers another thought-provoking lesson: the value of perseverance in the pursuit of knowledge. If scientists had accepted that all the secrets of the arena had been deciphered, the 2021 survey might never have taken place. If they had stopped asking questions simply because the site had been studied for centuries, the mysterious signals beneath the ground would have continued to be overlooked. Human progress always begins with those who dare to question what seems to be known. Every great discovery in history stems from curiosity. It is curiosity that has driven humans across oceans, explored space, deciphered atomic structure, and gained a deeper understanding of the world around them. In modern life, this lesson remains just as valuable. Many people stop learning when they believe they already know enough. Many organizations fall behind because they assume old methods will always work. But the world is constantly changing. Technology is always evolving. Knowledge is always expanding. Maintaining a spirit of continuous learning can be the key to adapting and thriving in a constantly changing world. Furthermore, this story offers a profound insight into humanity's place in the universe. The great structures we build, the empires that once dominated the world, or the achievements that one era considers immortal, all become layers of history beneath another. Time is in constant motion. Everything changes. What remains is not power or wealth, but the values that each generation leaves for the next. When we look at the Colosseum, we see not just stone, brick, and ancient ruins. We see the traces of thousands of years of human labor, creativity, ambition, mistakes, victories, and lessons. Each generation has contributed a small part to that long story. Perhaps this is something worth reflecting on in our daily lives. Instead of focusing solely on short-term gains, we need to think more about the lasting value we leave behind. Instead of creating division, we can choose cooperation. Instead of fostering hostility, we can dedicate more time to understanding and compassion. After all, we all coexist on a small planet in the vast universe, sharing a common history and leaving our mark on the future. Exploring the Colosseum reveals that even the most familiar places can hold unknown secrets, and perhaps that's true of each individual as well. Within each of us lies untapped potential, unlearned lessons, and unexplored capabilities. By maintaining humility toward knowledge, curiosity about the world, and love for others, we will continue to unlock new layers of meaning in our lives, just as scientists are gradually uncovering the layers of history that lie dormant beneath the earth of Rome. If you found this story interesting, please share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is really hidden beneath the Colosseum? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us on our journeys to uncover the most fascinating mysteries of human history.